Well, today I want to do something a little different. I'm going to begin Thus Spoke Zarathustra once again. And this time I want to go over each section and do a little video on it. So today we start with Zarathustra's Prologue, where we begin. Zarathustra's 30 years old, and he leaves his home and goes into the mountains alone, and he lives there for 10 years. This is like the very first sentence, pretty much. And after that 10 years, he says that he's become a child, which we will get to later on in the next chapter, what that means. But he decides to come out of his cave and go down and speak to the masses, to become one again with man. So on his way down, he meets the saint. The saint and him have a little discourse, and the saint says, "Don't bother with with man, because they don't care. They're stupid. They're just. It's better to sit in the forest with the animals and praise God." That's what the saint says. And this is where we get to the first God is dead, because Zarathustra, after abandoning the saint and saying goodbye, he says to his heart, laughing, "Could it be possible this old saint in the forest hath not heard it yet, that God is dead?" Because the saint just wants to worship God. Anyways, then he gets to the marketplace, and he starts speaking to the people, to the herd, and he says, I'm going to teach you of the Superman. I'm going to teach you of the greatest of all men, because man is a poisoned, or he calls man a polluted stream. And for someone to accept all man, to take all for that polluted stream, not to pollute the next thing it's going into, it needs to be a massive sea. And that's what the Superman is. The Superman is the collection of all humanity, I guess. It's greater than humanity. What he uses this reference because they're talking about this rope dancer. There's these two huge towers, and this guy's gonna go across it on a rope. And at first they think Zarathustra's talking about this rope dancer, because Zarathustra refers to man as the rope stretched between animal and the Superman. So man is almost the rope, I guess. That's man, capital M. And then the rope dancer is the person who is on this path towards the Superman, but still he is a sinful creature who often has just a bad thing, I guess. It's not a good thing that man is. Another important I guess not important thing. A lot of what he says is very interesting. Another point is that I love him who desireth not too many virtues. One virtue is more of a virtue than two, because it is more of a knot for one's destiny to cling to. This is I believe he speaks on this more further in as well. But at this point, he's saying that it's better to have one virtue and to just cling to that completely. To say, I'm going to have this, and I'm going to take it as the ultimate virtue, and I'm going to cling to that I love this. I love this thing, right? He doesn't want to have massive. I'm flubbing this quite hard, and it's because it's kind of difficult for me. And I expect that I'll come back to this in the future and do it better. And I also expect that I'm not going to get all the way through this because it's long and I am not as consistent as I would like to be. But he says this about the virtue because if you have two virtues, it often is the case that they conflict, right? So if you hold caring up to the greatest of all virtues, and then at the same time you hold the truth up to the greatest of all virtues, at times you will have to hurt someone by being honest, or else lie to someone to care for them. And in that sense, you can't have two virtues. It's not the best choice of action. Anyways. All the people of the town, anyways, they spit on Zarathustra more or less. They laugh at him. They say, "You're an idiot. Like, show us this greater man, Zarathustra, and then we'll become him." And at that point, Zarathustra is very sad because they're not understanding what he's meaning. And I feel like I am part of the herd at the beginning of this, definitely. Because I too want to become the Superman. I don't want to be in the search of the Superman. I want to be him. That's not possible, though. It almost seems like Zarathustra's Superman is like a transhumanist property. It is the AI computer is the next step, right? It is the next step of man. It is the evolution. We are no longer man. We are now something more. However, I don't think he can ever get away from the animal concept. I feel like we will always be the animal. Even the Superman would still be the animal. But that's probably just me misunderstanding a section of it. This section I liked. It's a little poison now and then, that maketh pleasant dreams, and much poison at last for a pleasant death. One still worketh, for work is a pastime, but one is careful lest the pastime should hurt one. One no longer becometh poor or rich, both are too burdensome. Who still wanteth to rule? Who still wanteth to obey? Both are too burdensome. No shepherd in one herd, everyone wanteth the same, everyone is equal. He who hath other sentiments goeth voluntarily into the madhouse. This is a very good description of modernity, democracy, I suppose, where we are no longer there is no ruler, right? Or that's the idea anyways. Instead, we're just all equals. We are all part of this system. No longer is there it's one that is meant to be above the other. Instead, we're just one massive grouping we're just a massive herd that doesn't have any direction. I think that's very sad. Then at this point, the rope dancer is about halfway across his rope, and the devil comes out. The devil is this jester-type creature who walks out onto the rope and sprints across it. He's pointing at the rope dancer and saying, "Haha, you're an idiot. You gotta go faster, I'm gonna get you." And then eventually gets to him, and he jumps over the rope dancer and lands on the other side, goes to the next tower. When that happened, the rope dancer lost his footing, and he fell from the towers and landed on the ground. Zarathustra walks over to him, and he says, they have like a brief chat, and Zarathustra decides to pick him up and go bury him. Then, as he's leaving town with this corpse, first the buffoon person, the devil, comes and speaks to him and says, you gotta leave this town because there's a lot of people that hate you. They want to kill you, and you need to go. If it wasn't for you speaking nonsense in the town square and you taking this corpse for people to laugh at you because they don't understand, then they would have killed you today. But because you did that, you saved your life. Tomorrow, we're going to kill you if you don't leave. But Zarathustra was going to leave anyways because he was taking the corpse. On his way out, he gets laughed at more by the gravediggers. And he wanders into the forest in the swamp. And he comes to this guy's house. He just lives in the middle of the forest, I guess. And he knocks on the door and says, hey, can I have some food? This old man appears and says, sure, here's some bread and wine. And also gives some for the corpse that Zarathustra is carrying. This is, I feel that is a significant passage, but I can't quite put my finger on it. The old man giving him bread and wine. I guess maybe this is like the wisdom of the elders giving others sustenance, maybe? Something of that nature. And then Zarathustra goes on further. He finds this tree, and he puts the corpse down in it, and then he lays down and falls asleep. He then wakes up in the morning and goes, and he says, a light hath dawned upon me. I need companions, living ones, not dead companions and corpses, which I carry with me where I will. But I need living companions who will follow me because they want to follow themselves and to the place where I will. A light hath dawned upon me, not to the people in Zarathustra to speak, but to companions. This is a big turning point, which I understand is just the beginning. But before this, Zarathustra was trying to teach the herd almost. He thought that he could convince, or he could teach of the Superman and the herd would follow. But now he realizes that won't work, nor is it desirable. Instead, what he wants is to find companions, those who follow their own being, who are themselves and equals in a sense with Zarathustra. Not that they are Zarathustra, of course, and not that they are also this kind of prophet and as wise as him or something of that nature. It's that he wants those who follow him to be companions, not the dead, not a corpse. Like there's nothing good coming from carrying around a corpse. And so now he sets off to find companions. He wants to find fellow creators. This is not the dead, and not just the corpse, but the people themselves are also dead. They're no longer living. And I think that the person at the beginning, the saint who spends his time writing hymns and worshiping gods, I think Zarathustra also thinks that saint is also dead, but in a different way, because he's worshiping something that's dead, and in doing so, he also is dead, because he's not creating anything really. He's creating hymns and such, Maybe that person is one who could become a companion if they realized that God was dead. But Zarathustra wouldn't come and tell that person, hey, God is dead, because that doesn't... because that at that point he is being the shepherd, right? And he doesn't want to be the shepherd. He wants to be a creator. He is a creator. He's seeking other creators to come and create with him the Superman, to search for it together, to build the steps to the Superman. Then he sees his friends, the eagle, I believe it's an eagle, and the snake. And these are... It's imagery that happens over and over again, and we'll see them many times in the book. I don't really know what they are. The eagle is the proudest animal under the sun, and the snake is considered the wisest animal. So I guess it's like pride and wisdom. They are the companions of Zarathustra. Maybe that is what he's looking for. And the eagle doesn't hold the snake like prey. The snake is wrapped around the eagle's neck, but just, they're just holding on to each other as friends. So pride and wisdom are along with Zarathustra as he continues on his journey currently in search of companions to find the Superman. Oh yeah, definitely, because here he says, would that I were wiser, from the very heart like my serpent, but I am asking the impossible, therefore do I ask my pride to go always with my wisdom, and if my wisdom should some day forsake me, alas, it loveth to fly away. May my pride then fly away with my folly. Thus began Zarathustra's downgoing. So I guess the thing is that wisdom and pride go together. And if you have one and not the other, then that's unhealthy. I guess it's not a question about health. It's that if my wisdom falters me, allow it to fly away with my pride. And allow my pride to always be with my wisdom, maybe. Anyways, that's the prologue. We're now on the first discourses. There's a lot in that. There's a lot in all of this. I think most of the other ones are a little shorter. This one will be longer. But yeah, I'm hoping to go through the whole thing, maybe. I just decided that I should reread this. It's been about a year since I've picked it up. And the first time I went through it, I was kind of I was very literal with it. And I didn't understand a lot of it. I still probably don't. I was kind of just going for quotes almost. I was quote mining. Thus spoke Zarathustra. Now I want to try and see a greater understanding of the book, starting with each chapter, and then see if I can create some overarching understanding of it, perhaps. I don't know if I am capable. I don't know if it's too hard. I would like to do this with most of the books I read from now on. So this is my beginning. Thank you. If you want to Like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to try and do the whole book